So, Fabian Society. It's a British socialist organisation whose purpose is to advance the principles of social democracy and democratic socialism by a gradualist and reformist effort in democracies. And it wants to do this as opposed to having some sort of revolution, because they tend to be messy and people's heads get chopped off and it's hard to control the revolution. So it's all about gradualism. What does gradualism require? Well, it requires long-term planning. It requires thinking about outcomes, thinking about potential scenarios, wargaming exercises, predicting how people are going to behave, analyzing people, knowing the individual psychology, the group psychology, knowing the pressure points, the buttons to push to get people to go in a certain way, to behave a certain way. They gathered more information about us during the last 4 years based on our reactions to the lockdowns and the rollout of the experimental injections. To me, it was a data gathering exercise. It was like, oh, let's see what happens if we roll out this thing globally. Let's see who resists, who rolls over and takes it. Let's try this level of coercion and these rules in this country. Let's try different means of coercion and rules in this country over here. And then we'll gather all that data because everyone's sitting at home on their phones in front of their laptops. They gather it all, they feed it in, and then they use that to inform their gradualist plans, right? That's just my theory on it. But they admit to thinking in a gradualist way, which means you're thinking long term. You have to be thinking long term if you are doing things in a gradualist way. And it tells us, as one of the founding organizations of the Labour Representation Committee in 1900, and as an important influence upon the Labour Party which grew from it, the Fabian Society has had a powerful influence on British politics. We got an election coming up, in fact, and I have people in my family who vote Labour, and I would like to know if they have any awareness of this society at all. And if not, don't you think it would be a good thing to know about, because they have a powerful influence? And then, as we know, this society founded the LSE, the London School of Economics, in 1895. Which just pops up all over the place. The members of the cowardly parasite class who are groomed to become the leaders that are public facing, that are in the news and on the podiums, the household names, they tend to go through the School of Economics. This institution was founded by the Fabian Society, and I think I'm right in saying that 80% of its intake are from overseas. So the last thing we want to have a look at is the Fabian window. What is the Fabian window? Well, it's a stained glass window depicting the founders of the Fabian Society, as designed by George Bernard Shaw. If you don't know who he is, you got to find a video of him, and the video is him explaining how people justify their existence, and if they can't do it, then that's the end for you. Maybe an injection, or maybe a sterilization or something. There's a video of him saying that.
I object to all punishment whatsoever. I don't want to punish anybody. But there are an extraordinary number of people whom I want to kill. Not in any unkind or personal spirit, but it must be evident to all of you. You must all know half a dozen people at least who are no use in this world, who are more trouble than they are worth. And I think it would be a good thing to make everybody come before a properly appointed board, just as he might come before the income tax commissioners, and say every 5 years or every 7 years, just put him there and say, sir or madam, now will you be kind enough to justify your existence? If you can't justify your existence, if you're not pulling your weight in the social vote, if you're not producing as much as you consume, or perhaps a little more, then clearly we cannot use the big organization of our society for the purpose of keeping you alive, because your life does not benefit us, and it can't be of very much use.
So he designed this window, and it was stolen in 1978, and it reappeared in 2005. I want to know more about that whole story there. I mean, that's almost 30 years it went missing. Where was it? Who had it? How do you steal a window? And how come it just reappeared like in a puff of smoke at Sotheby's? The window was restored to display in the Shaw Library at the LSE in 2006 at a ceremony presided over by then Prime Minister Tony Blair, that old fella, emphasising New Labour's intellectual debt to the Fabians. So the British Labour Party have an intellectual debt to this group of people, and Tony Blair, the war criminal, the man who invaded Iraq, who is responsible for the deaths of I don't even know how many people, domestic and foreign, still out there, still getting lucrative speaking engagements, growing more evil looking by the day. He was there to unveil this window when it was returned, And here it is. Here's the window. And so there's quite a lot of very interesting details. We got on the top, remold it nearer to the heart's desire. So that sounds a lot like do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. That sounds a lot like humanism, where just doing whatever makes you happy is the important thing. Now, if we zoom in, you'll see here this crest in the middle. That's their logo. That logo is literally a wolf with a sheepskin wrapped around it. Their logo is literally a wolf in sheep's clothing. But I'm sure they just want the best for people, you know. And what they're doing is they've got the world here on an anvil and they're hammering it. They're remolding it according to their own heart's desire, is what it says. Remold it, the world. Remold the world nearer to the heart's desire. Okay, we've got another crest shield here, which has pray devoutly, hammer stoutly. And then down here, members of the Fabian Society and a bunch of books. These are hard to read. Oh my God, that one says Minority Report. What the hell? I'm just amazed that said Minority Report, given the Tom Cruise film, where they have pre-crime, precognition, and they arrest people before they carry out the crimes. There's also a book here which says New Worlds for Old. So you've got the new world that they're trying to bring in. So an incredibly telling and mysterious. Well, not that mysterious. It's kind of revealing and obvious. It's not that mysterious, is it? They're hammering the world to match their heart's desire, and they are wolves in sheep's clothing. And I think this might be George Bernard Shaw here, and maybe Sidney Webb. I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, that is the Fabian window, and there's a picture of Tony Blair standing in front of it, all happy and chuffed because it's, you know, magically appeared in Sotheby's. Welcome to Hayes Reviews.